I talked with you last week about trust in a marriage and how important that trust is in a marriage, and you don't violate that trust ever in a marriage. It is something that is hard to earn, but it is lost very quickly. I heard somebody express it this way: that it's like mountain climbing. A climb can take a long time, but a fall can happen in an instant. And the same is true where trust is in a marriage. It takes a while to build it, but it can be lost in a moment. And so, so I told about him over in Proverbs, where it talks about practical jokes. Do y'all remember that? Those of you here, do y'all remember what I taught about practical? Are practical jokes good? No. If you work at this church and you do a practical joke on somebody, what happens? You're fired. You're gone. Dismissed. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Because it sets up circumstances, falsely usually, that puts somebody at a disadvantage and embarrasses them. And so you have broken trust with that person. So Beth and I were talking about that, and she actually had a real good story of trust where it's concerned. Would you like to come up and share that story? Because you do it, you tell it better than I do.
So, I was in the hospital. Oh, this was probably 20 years ago, and for a routine procedure, and I don't know why, but I had been wanting to get one of those medical power of attorney things done, and I hadn't done it, just procrastination. So I thought I would just explain to them, all the people, and they would understand. So when I went back, I told the nurses, I said, now, if anything bad happens, my husband's in the waiting room, go get him. So that little lady goes, okay, you know. So then I told the next one that. Then I told the doctor that. I told everybody I mean, they come in to pick up the trash. Would you make sure they go get my husband if anything happens? So they all heard that. So I went back into this little routine procedure where they put me to sleep. And then when I came out, now this part they told me later, they had trouble waking me up. I was having some kind of reaction to the anesthesia, and I was not waking up. And they told me later that they were in my face yelling at me, Mrs. Seymour, Mrs. Seymour, wake up, wake up. And it must have been a little scary to them because somebody remembered and they went out and got him out of the waiting room. So he comes in. Now, of course, I don't remember any of this part, they told me. But he walks in and sees me laying there, and they tell him, Mr. Seymour, we're having trouble. She's stable, but we're having trouble waking her up. And so I guess they were nervous because some people would react badly to that, but he's a really calm guy. And so he just walked over. He got down kind of in the floor and got right in my face and said, Beth, wake up. Now what I'm telling you, I remember. So I heard him say that, and I didn't open my eyes, and I was laying there thinking, what does he want? And he said, Beth, open your eyes. And so I opened them, and then I closed them right back. And he said, honey, open your eyes and keep them open. Well, at first I thought that was sweet, and then I got very angry. I was so angry with him because here's what I thought. I thought the insurance company came and got him and is telling him to get me out of there. Somebody else needs the bed. And I was so angry. And so he said, open your eyes. And so I opened my eyes and I said, the insurance company can just wait. And he looked at the nurse and said, she's fine. But the point was, they had been yelling at me to wake up, and we'd been married 20, 25 years or so, and I knew his voice so well, and I knew his tone. And I thought it was amazing that what another voice couldn't get through, the first time he said my name, I heard him. Even though I kept my eyes closed. I did. I heard him. But I thought that was wonderful, and I thought, that proves my point. You need to get him if there's a problem, not somebody else, but him, because I listen to him, even when I'm unconscious or angry.
when I walked in, I told the nurses, they said, we've been yelling and everything. And I said, well, that's your problem. She doesn't respond to yelling. Which I wouldn't know because I told you I hadn't been yelling. But that shows an example of trust. You've built trust over the years to where you know each other. And it wasn't that she had a problem with me. She had a problem with the insurance company. It wasn't. But you learn, you become that sensitive to each other's voice.